Hi everybody, so this is going to be my review of Resident Evil HD Remaster, the remake of the original Resident Evil game. So in this video I'm going to try and answer the questions about should you try and play this game? Why did I try and play this game? Is it worth playing? Is it any good? Is it any fun? And kind of what do you get out of it? The important thing to remember is that this game originally came out way back in 1996, the first version for the original PlayStation, and then it was remade in 2002, so not that long after, for the GameCube, and then it came out on various Nintendo and platforms until it came out in about, I think it was 2015, where we got the HD Remaster, which is what we can see here when it came out on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 and on PC as well. I guess, why did I want to go back and play this game? Well, I've recently been playing a lot of Resident Evil. So, I played through the Resident Evil 2 remake, the Resident Evil 3 remake, Resident Evil 7 before that, and Resident Evil 4 remake most recently of all. I really enjoy them. I love the Resident Evil games. I love the immersion that they have. I love the feeling that they have. Sometimes I think they're a bit long and they're a bit hard. Normally when I'm about 3/4 of the way through I've sort of had enough, but I don't think there's not many games that come close to the atmosphere that Resident Evil games create. But I thought, well, I've played all these, but I've never played the first one, and apparently this one is, or kind of what I found out was, of the fixed camera perspective ones, this is the most accessible because you can still get hold of it and play it. And it's got an important part in the franchise because it's where it all started. And I think you've got to bear that in mind because this game, it is really old. And so it doesn't have the quality of life improvements that we have in modern video games at all. But it's still playable. It's still playable. And also I would say is don't underestimate how good that fixed camera angle style of game really was. We kind of tend to poo-poo it a little bit these days. I think, well, we moved on, we're into first person and third person camera views, but I wouldn't mind having a remake where they stuck with the camera views because it gave you this feeling that you were in a horror film, with all the different levels of zoom and the different angles, bit Dutch angle here and there, seeing a character through a window and all this sort of stuff. And I really enjoyed having that as well. So gameplay wise, this is it's where Resident Evil started, so as you could expect, it's go to some place, you kind of get stuck, solve a puzzle or find a key, and then open up another door, backtrack to where you've gone, open up another door, find another puzzle, get another key, backtrack to where you've gone. Lots and lots of backtracking, toing and froing to figure out what you're meant to be doing. And that is Resident Evil, isn't it? Graphics wise, pretty basic here. Sometimes the pre-rendered backgrounds, some of them look really, really good, some of them look really, really terrible. On PC, however, there are some mods though that upscale this. Now I haven't bothered doing them with this, but you could do that if you really enjoyed this and thought, actually I want to make it a bit better. The sound is eerie, the music is good, the voice acting can be a little bit at times, a little bit old-fashioned, but it's good enough. But it does have that good atmosphere, especially when you move. For me, anyway, when you go into a new area and it has a different feel, like when you first come into the mansion or when you first leave the mansion and go outside. It's really good. Story-wise, it kind of telling you where everything began, in terms of where things started to go wrong for Umbrella, which obviously leads to the Raccoon City incident and the outbreaks of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. I'm still not really quite sure exactly what was happening in the mansion, whether the STARS team were being tested when they went there, or everything had gone wrong in the mansion and it was just a coincidence they were there. So if anybody really knows, if you could tell me in the comment section below the video, that would be really, really good. Now I would say that you're probably going to need help playing this. I know I needed to use a guide to figure out what I was doing, and I don't tell anyone, but I used a trainer as well, because I didn't want to play this game for the challenge. I wanted to play it for the story, to get through it. And so yeah, I used a trainer, so I was indestructible and had infinite ammo, and I thoroughly enjoyed the game like that, because the puzzles can be quite difficult, and I'm not looking for great value for money out of this game. You know, I bought it really cheap anyway, from CD keys, and so I'm not bothered if it only takes me a few hours to get through it. But it didn't. It took me quite a long time, and I only played Jill's storyline. I might go back and play. Who's the other one? I can't remember who the other character is. You've got Jill Valentine. Not Leon, is it? It's the other guy. Anyway, but I'm not sure whether I will or not. However, what I do feel is that I now feel like I know a lot more about the incident that became the outbreak in Raccoon City. You know, when I'm walking through the Raccoon City Police Department and going into the STARS offices, I can relate more to what happened. I can understand why the Nemesis came after Jill in Resident Evil 3, and I feel more part of the series now. I really do. So I can't really recommend this as a great game to play. You know, things have just moved on in video games so much. I'm really excited if they decide to do a remake though. I'd like that. But if you want to experience one of the fixed camera games, fixed camera Resident Evils, and kind of get to know where it all started, and above all understand more of the history and lore of Resident Evil, I think, yeah, you should definitely give it a go. Pick it up cheap and have a playthrough. Use a trainer so that you can be invincible, and enjoy what is the beginning of the timeline of Resident Evil. Now, I know there's Resident Evil 0 as well, and will I go back and play that? Maybe, but I know I definitely feel that, you know, this was the first game that got released and, you know, led into the amazing thing that is Resident Evil 2, and I'm very happy I played it indeed. But what do you think? Put your questions in the comments down below, and I will of course see you again soon.